Calgary Flames fans, it's time for Flames Unfiltered. Entertaining and controversial hockey talk with your host, Brad Burud. 2 weeks from tonight. It seems like forever. Hey, at least we got the World Juniors to hold us over. Good evening. Welcome to Flames Unfiltered. It is December 30th, 2020, as we prepare to kiss 2020 goodbye with episode 82 of Flames Unfiltered. I am the host of the show, Brad Burud. Good to be with you. And yeah, I'm ready for 2020 to be done. This year stunk in every aspect. And yeah, I just pray that everybody's healthy out there. Everybody's found peace and happiness and is dealing with this in the best possible way. And yeah, we also pray that 2021 is nothing close to 2020. Christmas is in the books. It was a little different this year. Did spend time with family, and I guess that's what's important, is making sure in the Christmas holiday that your parents and your kids and your spouses and everybody are happy and good and taken care of, and thankful for what we did have good in 2020. And if you're healthy out there, and if your family's healthy, I guess that's something to really be thankful for and happy. It was a nice Christmas. It went quick. Christmas decorations are still up. It's funny how I'm excited to help put up Christmas decorations and to have the tree lit and everything for the month of December. But boy, I'll tell you what, as soon as Christmas Day is over, it's like I look over at that tree and I look at my wife. I'm like, yeah, how many more days have we got this thing? Are we going to yank this thing out of here? So that's on the agenda for this weekend. And yeah, other than that, played a little outdoor hockey for the first time in a long time over the break. And that was beautiful and nice. And yeah, Santa Claus left me my annual pack of hockey cards in my stocking. So I don't know if this is a good sign. It's the Upper Deck 2021 pack, the monster pack, the $5 pack. And Santa always brings me a pack of cards every year because my kids know how much I like hockey, and they figure Santa better bring me some hockey. So I always have to get hockey cards. So I open the pack up. First card I pick out, Dylan Dubé. Man, that's a good sign. I go through the pack a little bit further, and I'm like, guys are pretty good guys. Elias Lindholm. I always liked Elias Lindholm. He's going to have a good year this year, too. We're going to talk about that later on. And I'm going through, and then I get David Rittich. 3 Flames in one pack? And then to top it all off, you really want to know what the good thing is? Yep, I got 0 Oilers and 0 Canucks. That's a hell of a Christmas pack. Santa was good to me this year. World Juniors, yeah, they're holding me over. I'm watching most of the games. There's some that I'm not, because it's no fun watching anybody beat up on anybody that bad. Tonight I'm going to watch, I think it's Russia and Sweden, I'm going to watch that one. Or no, can't be Russia and Sweden, can it? Germany and the Swiss are playing now. Let me see what it is. It's going to be on my agenda after we record tonight. Bear with me. Yeah, Russia, Sweden. It's on the list to do tonight. That'll be a good game. And tomorrow we get a barrage of them, as New Year's Eve is here, and then New Year's Day. It's good hockey. So we're to the heart of the World Juniors now, when the games mean the most. And it is holding me over. Waiting for camp to open Sunday, waiting to see the roster, waiting for all that good stuff. But let's get on to today's show. And on today's episode, it's going to be a good one. We're going to talk about fantasy hockey pools and what Flames players will you keep on, or will you want to get on your team so you can win your pool. And then we'll talk a little bit about some of the guys maybe you don't want on your team, but they're on our team. that's how it goes. Then Auddie James joins the show to discuss his projections on the Flames 2020-21 season. It's always fun and always entertaining to have Auddie join the show, and we're looking forward to that. And then we'll break down some Flames news, talk World Juniors, schedule, taxi squads. We'll go around the division and talk about how the Ottawa Senators are suddenly making a push roster-wise with some moves. We'll wrap with a Facebook poll on how many times goalie David Rittich will get the nod this season. You know, that's really controversial, I guess. It was the closest poll I've ever had. It's always fun. Flames Unfiltered, thanks for joining us. All right, Flames fans. With hockey quickly approaching. It's coming quick. It's coming quick. Time to get your fantasy hockey teams going. Time to get your pools going. And I always recommend, even though I'm the biggest Flames fan in the world, that you don't draft with your heart. You draft with your head. I've often found it's kind of frustrating having players from your favorite team on your fantasy team, just because if your favorites, it just gets tricky sometimes. And but then also it's hard to have, Draisaitl on your team, and you got to cheer for him to score points against the Flames. And it's complicated. Let's talk Flames. Let's talk about who to get, who to not get. And I always, every year, get the Hockey News, Hockey Pool, Fantasy Hockey Magazine, and first thing I do is I head to my team and I look at the projections. Now, all of the projections this year were based on, if there was an 82-game season. Well, we all know we're not getting an 82-game season. We're getting a 56-game season, I pray. I hope, and I want a 56. Let's talk about the players. We'll talk about individual players. I got about 15 of them written down, and I'll give you my thoughts on each of them. Let's start at the top with Johnny Gaudreau. I think Johnny Gaudreau is trending downward. Big shocker. You guys all know my feelings on Johnny Gaudreau. I wish that I could sit in front of this mic, 4 weeks into the season and being like, hey, I'm looking like I'm wrong where we're going with Johnny Gaudreau, and prove it to me in the playoffs, and I'll be your hero, and I'll give you $8 million. I just don't know if that's what we're going to get. God, I pray. Anyways, the Hockey News has him projected at 75 points, which when you ratio that down to 56 games, that's 52.36 points, almost a point a game player. Sportsnet has him ranked 32nd of all players ranked. I think that might be a little bit of a risk if you're going to take him in the late second round, early third round by, in most pools. You know what's scary to me is we don't even have a Flame in the top 2 rounds of a fantasy hockey pool. That's frustrating. NHL.com has him ranked 33rd among forwards, which is probably about right. I predict this year Johnny Gaudreau puts up 47 points in 56 games. I do. I think that I think he puts up 47 points. Matthew Tkachuk. Let's talk about more than likely the future captain of the Calgary Flames. But that's a topic for another day. I think Tkachuk's trending upward. The Hockey News has him projected at 67 points, which ratios down to 56 games at 45.76 points. Sportsnet's got him 34th overall amongst all players. NHL.com's got him ranked as the 20th forward Yeah, that's probably what I'd say. I think Tkachuk's gonna have a big year this year. If we can keep him healthy, think about it. Matthew Tkachuk, when is he at his best? He's at his best when he's a shit stirber. And when you're going to play Vancouver 10 and Edmonton 10, so literally almost half of your games are going to be, shoot, when you add his Ottawa in against his brother, that's over half of the games are going to be against those teams. We're going to get a lot of points from Matthew Tkachuk this year, I think. I got him penciled in at 54. And I got him penciled in to lead the Flames. Yeah, I do. Elias Lindholm, I had a hard time with him. I want to say he's trending up, but I'd have to say he's level. And I think where that question mark comes in so much with me is where do we play him this year? Is he flanked alongside Gaudreau and Monahan, or are we going to put him centering Tkachuk and Mangiapane? Or, where's he going to fit in? Is he going to move to center? Is he going to stay on the wing? That will dictate a little bit of points. Honestly, believe that if he stays with Gaudreau and Monahan, he'll get more points because he won't have to be quite as responsible as a center has to be. And I don't know. I feel like he'll get more points if he's on the wing. We'll see what happens there. Hockey News has him at 66 points, one behind Tkachuk, which ratio's down to 45.07. That's not a bad pickup. Sportsnet's got him 60th overall, but NHL.com's got him 57th amongst forwards. I don't know. Probably. I got him penciled in at 45 points this year. Exactly what the Hockey News is. I don't know. I think he's going to be fine this year. I think he's going to be the Lindholm we've had for years. Good. Not exceptional, but good. Sean Monahan. I don't know. I'm probably going to hate mail on this one. I don't know where to go with Sean Monahan. I didn't hate his game last year. I didn't. And I could tell he was hurt in the playoffs. But I didn't hate him last year. I hate him some nights. But, I can say that for a lot of guys, right? Is he as consistent as he should be? No. I don't think he's being played like he should be. I don't think he's a first-line center in the National Hockey League. I think he's a second line at best. Hockey News has him at 62 points, which projects down to 42.34. I think he's going to have a level year this year. Sportsnet's got him ranked 99th overall, 78th amongst forward at NHL.com. I got him at 45 points. I got him right with Lindholm. They're going to tie points this year. Michael Backlund. He's that guy in fantasy hockey. You want to pick him up, but he just is streaky. He's really, really streaky. I think he'll be level again this year. The Hockey News has got him at 45 points, which projects down to 30.73. Sportsnet's got him 217th ranked overall. NHL.com's got him ranked 145th amongst forwards. I got him projecting out for about what the Hockey News has. I got him at 31 points this year. I think this team this year is going to be a big time scoring by committee. I do. I think we're going to see Levo, Nordstrom. I think all those guys are going to step up, and this is what's going to make this team better, is having that extra depth and having that confidence to roll four lines out there and grind your opponents down. Yeah, I wish we had that guy that was going to put up, 100 points a year, 80 points a year, 90 points a year. We just don't in Calgary. We just don't right now. I don't know. Maybe Gaudreau will show me wrong. He had a 99 a few years ago. God, I wish he had proved me wrong. Freaking that pisses me off. Backlund, I got him at 31. Now Mangiapane. I got him. I know. Last year I was tough on this guy. I was. And he kind of proved me wrong in the playoffs. He did. I think he's a sleeper pick this year. He's projected in the Hockey News to score 44 points, which ratios down to 30.05, which is the same basically as what they got Backlund slotted in at. Sportsnet does not have him rated either as NHL.com. I think you're going to see 32 points from Mangiapane this year, which would be a hell of a season. Be a hell of a season for him. Heading over to our first defenseman, and that's Rasmus Andersson. I think he's trending upward. The Hockey News has him 38 points, 25.95 is what that ratio is down for. Sportsnet and NHL.com don't have him rated. I've got him getting 21 points this year. I'm a little below what the Hockey News projects. I think he's going to develop into that, that stay-at-home guy. And I'm not saying that he isn't going to put up points. I don't know that he's going to be our point defenseman this year when you have a Hanifin, Valimaki. We're going to talk about that later. I don't know. I don't think he's going to be our point defenseman. Now, Derek Ryan, I think he's trending down. I would steer clear of Derek Ryan. The Hockey News projects him at 36 points, which ratio is down to 24.59. Not rated on Sportsnet or NHL.com. I got Ryan slipping to 16 points. I don't know. I wonder, and I love it. God, I hate doing that. I hate it because he's like, can you find a better, nicer guy and a more heart and soul? Do it for the community. Do it for your family. He's such a team player. Like, it sucks so bad to project him to have a tough year. It sucks because I really like this guy and I love what he does as a fourth line center. He's just not going to be in a lot of offensive situations. It's tough to put up points when you're not in offensive situations. Dylan Dubé, another sleeper pick, I think. Not rated by Sportsnet or NHL.com. Projected to score 35 points, 23.9 ratio down. I got him at 29 this year. I have him almost clicking that 30 mark. He'll be right up there with Mangiapane and Backlund. I think we're starting to see what we're going to get with Dylan Dubé. Is Dylan Dubé going to be a star in this league? I don't think so. I think he's going to be a hell of a player. I think he's going to be a consistent player. I think he's going to be a guy that year in and year out, you know what you're going to get from him. And I think he busts his ass, and that's going to get him a long ways. Noah Hanifin, our second defenseman, we'll talk about. And, there's been trade rumors, this and that on Noah Hanifin. I really hope we don't trade him. I like Noah Hanifin. The guy's young. Like, everybody talks about him like he's, like, old, but he's not. He's been in the league a while, but he's young still. I think Noah Hanifin is going to have a great year this year. The Hockey News has him projected at 32 points, which ratios down to 21.85. Shock, Sportsnet, and NHL.com don't even have him rated. I've got him getting 26 points this year. More than Anderson. I think you're going to see Hanifin on the power play. I do. We'll see. Giordano, Captain G. I hate to say it. I think he's trending downward. How could you not? I mean, he's getting older. How is he not going to trend downward? Hockey News says him 31 points. That ratio is down to 21.17. He's rated in Sports News 158th overall, 25th amongst defensemen. That might be a little generous. I hate to say it. I think we're going to see Giordano's time reduced a little bit this year. At least I hope we do. I think one of the problems last year was, and people were screaming and bitching at, what's wrong with Giordano? What's wrong with Giordano? I don't think anything's wrong with him. He's freaking dependent on the power play, the penalty kill, and all key 5-on-5 situations against the other team's top line. Now, I don't know. That's a lot to ask of a guy his age. Cut his minutes back a little bit. We've got Anderson now. We've got Tanev now. We've got other guys that have developed and can fill that role and help him. He can be a leader. He can help this team immensely if he's not dependent on in every freaking situation against everybody's hardest players. I got him with 15 points this year. I don't think we're going to see him on the power play as much this year. I think his numbers will go down a little bit, but I think he's going to be a better player. Sam Bennett. Oh, Jesus. God, where's my coin? I don't know what the hell to tell you here. I don't know what to tell you. If I had to guess, Sam Bennett's trending upward. How could I not say that after his playoffs last year? I'm going to be so freaking pissed if we get the old Sam Bennett back. Now, I don't expect him to be the playoff Sam Bennett. You can't ask that of him. But if I get, like I said last episode, 80% of that playoff Sam Bennett, I'm happy as hell. Hockey News has got him getting 27 points, which I think is ridiculously low. That's in an 82-game season, which ratios down to 18.44. Sports News and or Sportsnet, and NHL.com don't have him rated. I've got Sam Bennett getting 30 points. I'm telling you, this year, we don't have that big gun in Calgary. We're going to have a lot of guys getting a lot of points, and Sam Bennett's going to get 30 this year. Yusuf Alamaki. God, do I even want to talk about him? I am so pumped to watch him this year. That is honestly what I am looking forward to the most this season, is seeing Valimaki. He is not rated in anything on hardly anybody's pool projections. He's not rated. He's probably the biggest sleeper out there, hands down. Hockey News has got him 15 points, which ratios down to 10.24. I've got him getting 30 points this year. More than Anderson. More than Hannafin. Yeah, leading the Flames defenseman in points is going to be Yusuf Alamaki. Send me the hate mail. Tweet me. Tell me I'm crazy. But I feel pretty good about this. I really, really do. Finally got a goalie to talk about in fantasy hockey. Markstrom, he's safe, he's sound, he's good. He is a top-notch NHL goalie. Sportsnet's got him ranked 77th. NHL.com's got him 13th amongst goalies. I would rank him 6th amongst goalies in fantasy hockey. I think he's going to see a lot of time. He's a goalie that likes to play, wants to play. I think that I think he's going to get a lot of starts. I do. I think he's going to get a lot of starts. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll talk about that a little bit more in the show later on in the Facebook poll. But if I had to sum it up, safe pick Lindholm, sleeper pick Valimaki, and I wouldn't worry one damn bit if I had to have Markstrom as my goalie on my fantasy team. As a matter of fact, I'd be happy as hell. Joining Flames Unfiltered now, our buddy Auddie James back again. He was a regular last year, and boy, I hope he's a regular again this year. It's always fun talking hockey with him. And welcome to the show, and Merry Christmas, and New Year's. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We're getting close to the end of, I guess pretty damn close to the end of 2020 at this point. And
thank goodness.
No kidding, eh? Like, it's just been one heck of a year, ups and downs, and everything going on in the world. It's we talk off air about it, but it's like you never think the year is going to end, and that doesn't mean that this is going to stop. But at least we have something to look forward to. We do. We have hockey in 2 weeks from tonight. Not the Flames, but they're then 1 day later. But 2 weeks from tonight, we actually get NHL hockey. And man, is it going to feel good to sit down on the couch and turn the TV on, not have to watch some stupid show on Netflix or, some rerun of something I've seen 100 times. I just can't wait for good hockey action. I agree. And the World Juniors is a nice little taste of what's to come. Seeing some of these young up and comers playing too. It's exciting, man. It's certainly a good time to be a hockey fan. Yeah, it's exciting to have it back. And, it's been a while since we talked about the Flames. Back, when I think it was right at the end of the season last year, and the second season last year. Mm-hmm. Lots has happened. There's lots to be excited for, I think. So much negativity, but I think this team going in this year has some real potential. Your thoughts on that? No, I'm right there with you on the potential. I think the division realignment certainly helps, and it certainly, I'm not saying that it's going to be a cakewalk or anything like that. It's definitely not. I think we'll probably get into it, but there's going to be some teams that shock the living hell out of people. I think the Flames very well could be one of those teams, because I think a lot of people are sleeping on them at this point. I do too. It's funny when you see the predictions and stuff that come out. I'm like, now I'm not like a homer, and I'm as me and you are both pretty realistic. Like, we complain when there's something to complain about, but I'm seeing like Calgary like in 6th in the North Division. I'm like, mm-hmm. I don't see that happening. I honestly haven't put my video out about it yet. It's probably going to come out next week at some point. But I have them finishing 2nd in the division, I don't think that that's crazy.
I don't think it's crazy. I haven't done my prediction.
I think they could even win the damn thing. Like I'm that positive that this team, given given the opportunity and given the fact that some players step up that kind of went missing, and I think you know who we're talking about here. But more or less that top six, if they can get going, like it's a short season, man. Anything can happen. It's like those lockout seasons where you just never know. You know, when they have a lockout and then they come back, you never know what's going to happen.
We need to get out of the gate quick, though.
That's just it. The team that gets the hot start is going to be a team that rolls through this Canadian division. So
does it bother you? Okay, no preseason games. That kind of shook me a little bit. Did that bother you?
I don't know if it bothered me. I think I looked past it just for the simple fact that, hey, you know what? They did this bubble thing really well, so they know what they're doing. I think that they're going to do this thing right. But the no preseason games, it doesn't bother me as much as some people. I know a lot of people are kind of up in arms about it, but I don't think it bothers me nearly as much as you know everybody else.
I would have liked to get one, and originally I was like, yeah, whatever. And then one of my buddies said to me, "Do you realize that Markstrom's first save as a Flame is going to be in a regular season game?" I'm like, eee.
Yeah, that's I think it would be nice. For the simple fact of the amount of additions that the Flames made, it would be nice to get that chemistry down and kind of in not just in like a training camp situation, but in a situation where we're going to have like actual live gameplay. Even though it's a preseason game, guys getting their feet wet, Markstrom getting his feel with for the team that's out in front of him, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I'm not losing sleep about it. I know that a lot of people are kind of up in arms. Hockey's coming back. That's the biggest thing for me. I'm super happy about. But the thing is too, like you look at the Flames, they're not going to have any preseason games, but nobody else is either. So they're all going to come into this thing in the same condition, more or less, right? Yeah. A lot of teams made additions. A lot of teams lost people. It's going to be the same situation for everybody. So when you look at it that way, I think it makes the pill a little bit easier to swallow, knowing that you're not the only one that's in these circumstances. So I think it makes it a little easier.
So now this year we get a North Division, which is a Canadian division, and everybody's going to call it the Canadian Division. I don't know why they didn't just call it the Canadian Division. Your thoughts on that? Do you like that or dislike that?
I'll tell you what, I'm going to love 10 battles of Alberta throughout a whatever 60 some odd. What is it? What's the final number? 60?
56.
56. That's right. In a 56 game season, seeing a 10-game Battle of Alberta is going to be awesome. I think that seeing
Vancouver also.
That's true. And then we're also going to see Kachuk against Kachuk, however many times that's going to pan out. But I for one am quite fond of the way that they put this thing together. Again, some people maybe not so much, especially teams that are more or less in divisions where their teams are going to get stomped. I was trying to put it lightly, but there's some teams where, like, I look at Buffalo in that.
That's going to be a tough goal for them.
That's going to be a really, really tough goal for them. But I mean, I think all things considered for the Flames, a Canadian division is probably not going to be the worst thing.
I am so excited about this Canadian division. I don't know if I'm like I'm so excited, and maybe I'll get proven wrong on this, but I don't ever want it to go away. Like, think about the rivalries and the games we're going to get here and how every night, I mean, it's going to be awesome to watch. I mean, Sportsnet's got to be just licking their chops.
Oh, 100%.
It's going to be off the charts for them. I think it's actually good for hockey. And a lot of people will say, well, the United States won't even care about it. Well, who cares? I mean, they're all going to worry about their own divisions. They didn't worry about, if Florida was playing Calgary, nobody watched it in the States.
It's going to be no different, right? You're going to follow your team. And absolutely. I know in Canada, it's going to be, every game is going to be a primetime game in terms of, there's going to be a rivalry every single night. There's the mini rivalries within Canada to begin with. Like you look at Calgary, Edmonton, you look at Calgary, Vancouver, you look at Toronto and Ottawa, you look at Toronto, Montreal, you look at Ottawa, Montreal. Like there's so many rivalries in itself that it's going to make for such fantastic hockey.
Winnipeg, Calgary is going to be off the chart.
That too. Absolutely. After the playoff or the play-in series last and the return to play.
So I know you're a big baseball guy too.
Oh, love it.
We're going to more of an NCAA college hockey schedule type or baseball type schedule per se, where we're going to see 2, 3, and 4 game sets. Are you a fan of this or not a fan of this?
I'll tell you why I love it, because I think it's going to put the emphasis on a strong goalie tandem, opposed to, teams playing once or twice a week at the most. You're going to have to rely on your backup way more than, or your 1A, 1B way more than you would in any other season. I think I'm surprised that the goalie, the secondary, we'll say backup goalie market wasn't more, crazy and ridiculous this offseason. We didn't see more goalies getting flopped around than normal. I mean, I think now would have been the year to solidify a 1A, 1B opposed to a starter and a solidified backup. I think that's why, again, the Flames, and maybe we'll talk about this later, I'm not sure what you have on the docket, but I think it's why the Flames brought Garrett Sparks out on a PTO. There's no limit in training camp on goalies this year, right? People are scratching their heads. I'm over here saying, you know what? It's depth. You can carry 3 goalies in your squad, right?
Well, I think you can carry 4.
Exactly. I could be wrong. It's probably 4.
I mean, I think the Flames will carry, 2 on their roster, and then I think Domingue is just perfect for the taxi squad.
100%.
But I mean, you're going to see some teams probably with 4. Like, it's like, can you have enough depth in goal? I mean, I don't.
There's no such thing as too much goalie depth, especially when you're basically handed 4, put in air quotes, roster spots for goalies. Two in your main roster, and then your taxi squad, you can carry 2.
I love the Domingue signing. I did. I think that was great. How do you feel about the tandem of Markstrom and Rittich, and how many starts do you see Markstrom getting?
I got to be honest with you. I'm feeling pretty good about it. I think you and we're hard on Rittich, but I think we have every right to be. And we share the same opinion that a certain former Flames goalie, I think, had too much of an impact on Rittich's development and kind of turned him into the dramatic, I'm going to call him cinematic and very emotional goaltender that he is now. And that's Mike Smith. So thank you.
Smith ruined Rittich.
100% he did.
Man, I like Rittich. I do. And it killed me to see what happened last year. And in the night of the playoffs, I mean, we've talked about this numerous times, but I don't know if you can come back from that disaster that was the Dallas game that Rittich played. But like, I think Rittich's a fine goalie. I don't think he's a number 1.
No.
But I love this pairing now. I think this is a great pairing.
That plays more into the whole discussion of a 1A, 1B and how important that is. I feel way more comfortable going into this shortened season where we're going to have back-to-backs and we're going to have, 5 games and 8 nights kind of schedule with a 1A, 1B of Jacob Markstrom and David Rittich. Yeah. I think that in the Canadian division, they might have the best goaltending tandem going into this. I would put Carey Price and Jake Allen up there.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty scary.
Demko is unproven, so I can't put them up there yet.
That's exactly why I have, and again, spoiler alert, that's why I have Vancouver so low. Relying on Holtby and Demko, I don't think that's going to be something you can rely so much on as a 1A, 1B. Opposed to, like, if you were to pick Demko and Braden Holtby or Markstrom and David Rittich, who are you picking as a non-biased fan?
Markstrom and Rittich.
Right.
But I think, and I have had this argument with some Canucks guys, I think Holtby's going to carry the load, and I think Markstrom's going to carry the load in Calgary. And I don't know if we don't see Markstrom get 40 starts.
I could see it. I could see it. He's used to being the backbone and the leader. Like all his years in Vancouver, after what they went through, he was their constant. Last year, he was their constant. And if he can carry any of that over to this, hopefully offensive dynamite Flames lineup that we have, I'd see this being a pretty perfect pairing.
And I know, everybody's talking about the schedule and 10 back-to-backs and all this. And I look at the schedule and I'm like, okay, it is a little condensed, but you got to remember, we don't have now. We're going to go to Toronto for 2 and then up to Montreal for 2. It's not going to be in St. Louis on a Friday and then in Winnipeg on Saturday, where we got to clear customs at 2 a.m.
Right. I totally agree with you.
Totally different. It's going to be way easier.
Well, that's why they realigned these divisions the way they did, is so that they could A, limit the travel for we'll say health reasons, and B, like it's going to be much easier. They're not going to have a game in Vancouver and have to fly to Montreal the next night.
Is this something that we get to stick in this league? Think about it.
I would love it.
It's going to cut owners' expenses.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be better for the players on wear and tear on their body. I don't know. Maybe this will all get blown off after 1 year, but I can't help but wonder that, the board of governors are going to be like, hey, this is saving us a lot of money. And you think, how far is it if we hopped on a plane tonight in Calgary and flew to Ottawa? Was it 3.5 hours?
That'd be 3.5-ish, 3.5, 4.
Okay, that's not horrible for a 2-game, 3-game set, is it?
No, I don't think so at all. I don't think so. I love it. And look at like you said, being a baseball guy, like I've always enjoyed the 4 games the Blue Jays will play in Seattle, then they'll come back home for 3 games. And I think that's great. I think that method is awesome. Granted, the MLB plays 161 or whatever games a year. But I mean, I don't see why the NHL doesn't at least explore the option to carry this kind of scheduling going forward.
That'll be interesting.
But then again, that could also speak back to your potential of keeping these divisions the way they are.
The only thing that I think it'll hinder it and probably nix it right away is that where do the Kraken fit in then?
It's true. Yeah.
That's good. The NHL's not going to like that. That they for some reason think this Vancouver Kraken rivalry is going to be big, which I think it would be okay, but it's not. I don't think it's going to be huge. But it would screw the numbers game up, and we'd need another franchise in Canada. And sadly, I don't think that's going to happen anymore.
No.
Back to the Flames.
Yes.
Who plays center this year for the Flames? Who are our centers?
I would love to see. I would love to see Lindholm. I think that you're kind of in the same camp. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I am. There's only one thing that's keeping me wavering a little bit, and that is, where do you put Sam Bennett?
I would also love to see him.
But then we have way too many. I
know, that's just it. Then you got to move people around, or I don't know. Would you move other guys to the wing? Would other guys be open to playing the wing?
Well, I mean, I think Derek Ryan's got the 4th line covered. Don't you think?
I agree. Yeah, I totally think that, and I think he's could be one of the best 4th line centers in the league.
And then you got Backlund, and then you got Bennett, and then you got Lindholm, and then you got Monahan.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
I know.
I think Jeff Ward can certainly get creative, and I don't think that means we don't see like intra lineup swaps. I think it leaves the potential for these kind of swaps to happen game after game.
I'm such a traditionalist. I like to let these gel a little bit.
Yeah, I could see it, but I could also see the other side where, maybe Jeff Ward, they do a 3-game stretch in Montreal. The next time Montreal comes to Calgary, they switch it up a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into it a little bit too much, but when you have options like that, it doesn't hurt to at least explore them.
I was all about Lindholm at center, and I still am slightly. But after watching the playoffs last year and going, okay, so you tell me on opening night we're not going to have Sam Bennett centering a line, at least giving him the shot to start. Now, if he goes back to old Sam Bennett, first of all, I'm going to be pissed. Second of all, I mean, I want 80%. We're not going to get what he gave us in the playoffs last year. You can't do that consistently.
No, playoff Sam Bennett's a different beast,
but if you percent playoff Sam Bennett, would you not be happy?
I would be ecstatic. I'd be over the moon. That's about the best that Sam Bennett will get.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of lost his touch of being this highly touted high first draft pick, high first round. Sorry, that is. I don't want people to I think he's a first overall pick or anything, but highly selected guy who was supposed to be like the next, face of the franchise. I think that if he can fit the role of playing even 80%, like you said, Sam Bennett in the playoffs, then I'm happy, and I'm sure 90% of the Flames fans are 90% of the head office is or front office is going to be happy with that.
The only person going to be upset is when we get mid-season, we're like, oh my God, we got to figure out how to sign and protect this guy from Seattle next.
Right? I know. That's just it. That's just, at least if he underperforms, it's an easy, well, we're not going to protect you, but or maybe not so easy. I don't know. I feel like they'd still protect him anyway.
Yeah. So Giordano's not getting any younger. No. And I think you do too, still think he's a top end defenseman in this league. What do you want to see happen with his role next year?
I think they need to, and again, this isn't to say that, like, I don't want people to twist my words and think that I'm saying that, he's bad or he's, obviously he's declining. Father Time is not on his side right now. To win a Norris at his age when he did is something you don't see every day, but you can't expect that level to be maintained as he enters his late 30s. I think that he should, or they should limit his minutes. I don't think that they should drop him down to the third pairing or anything drastic like that. But get some of these young guys up in the lineup. We've seen flashes of Juuso Välimäki and how good he's played in Europe. Like I get goosebumps just thinking about watching this guy lace up and how good he is going to be. He's the he's the future of the blue line on this team.
Oh, I'm so excited about that. And I agree with you. I think Giordano, when you figure he's out there in power play, penalty kill, and he's out there against top line every single night. I'm like, we got to lay off on this guy a little bit.
And he's his own worst enemy, I think, because he's a workhorse.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I feel like that's something admirable, but I feel like I said, that you're being your own worst enemy at that age, playing that hard of a style of play.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to catch up to you, especially now, like I said, and I'm not I'm not saying the guy's like ancient, but for hockey, like you get into those late 30 years, then you're on the decline.
I'm with you though. I think if they just limit his situational minutes, I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not saying I'm with you, not move him down to the third pair or anything, but just limit his situational minutes.
Totally.
This guy is exactly what this team needs.
And I think it should also be taken into account the, I guess, matchups, right? Like, don't be putting him out there with the other team's, fastest line or anything like that. Like, don't put him in situations, like you said, situational minutes. Don't put him at risk. You can control how his decline. You can control everything like that if you just limit. I like to put it as and I'm not sure if you're a basketball guy, but when the Raptors won, I like to call it the Kawhi Leonard tactic. Rest him when you got to rest him. I'm not saying sit him out of games, but certainly don't put him in when you don't have to. Well, I think the blue line is solid enough now, especially with bringing in Tanev and all these other pieces. I don't see why you have to.
I really like our blue line. I really do. I mean, I think Anderson's great. I think Hanifin gets a kind of a bad rap.
I do too, but I don't think he's ineffective.
I don't either. He's 23.
Yeah. Yeah, he's young. People don't realize, I think people don't realize how young he truly is. Like, the kid's the same age as me.
I think Tanev is going to be the Hamonic. I think Välimäki, I think, is going to be a top-end elite defenseman in this league. And my verdict is still out on Shillington. I'm a little bit...
I don't know.
This is a make it or break it year.
I think so, too. But I also don't think that he's going to be put in... I think his minutes are certainly going to be limited given the depth that we already have on the blue line.
Yeah. I agree.
He'll be more or less the floating in and out third pairing guy.
Yeah. So the Flames picked up some depth in the bottom six this year with Levo, Simone, and Nordstrom coming into the team. Your thoughts on those signings and what we can expect from those guys this year?
Dude, absolutely fantastic signings. These are. I don't want to speak too much on Levo because I'm not as well familiar or well acquainted with his game.
Yeah, I'm excited for Levo.
I'm not to say I'm don't get me wrong, I'm not dissing or anything like that, but I just don't know enough about his game or how effective he can be. That's not to say that he won't be. I'd love to. I'm excited to see it too. But I
had an unnamed Canucks fan who knows his stuff and was bitter about this. Is bitter about a lot of this stuff.
Oh, I could imagine.
He told me that it wouldn't surprise him if Levo ends up in our top 6 by year's end.
Really?
Yeah. No, I don't know if that's a push.
I hope he's right. Unnamed
What,
Canucks fan.
what about the depth that adds for us? Even if we, I mean, obviously I'm not expecting that. But I mean, think about that.
It's a perfect situation, right? You bring in a guy like that, ends up in your top, because he knows full well his role is not to come in and play in the top 6.
Oh.
But if he plays, if he plays his way into a top 6 role, I don't think that's something that anybody would necessarily be upset about.
Well, one of the things that's going to be good with the Flames this year is, like, I don't really think we have like a top 6, or I mean, you can interchange almost anybody. Really, when you think about it, I mean, we don't have those big scoring guys. I mean, we had Gaudreau put 99 up a couple years ago, but other than that, like,
but the best teams don't need that.
No, but we're going to have depth all the way down.
The best teams don't need that. A true, legitimate contender has depth and scoring on all 4 lines. Yeah. Which these additions, I didn't even start about Joachim Nordstrom. Man, oh man, is this guy a workhorse? I remember watching him as a Bruin, and he was in their bottom 6, and just watching him in that cup final run, when they ended up losing to the Blues, that guy was, I would say, one of their MVPs of the playoffs.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I loved all 3 of these signings, and if we can just get 2 of them to pan out,
I think there's potential for all 3 of them to pan out.
I know,
and that's the scary part about this lineup. And these signings, people, oh man, like I said, man, people are sleeping on this team. People are completely checking them out. They're looking at their Torontos. Oh, Edmonton's going to be better. They had more depth signings, and I will give them credit. They had some I think some decent signings this offseason, but they're not as deep as Calgary is now. And that's not even just the Flames fan in me.
But they didn't get a goalie.
They still didn't get a goalie. They still have Mike Smith. They brought back Mike. They're going to run with Mike Smith and Mikko Koskinen.
I know.
That's going to be their kryptonite.
Yeah, I mean,
we just talked about a 1A 1B.
Yeah,
our goalie tandem puts them blows them out of the water right now.
And I'm not a huge Tyson Barrie fan. They're losing Clefbaum for the year. I don't know this. They have a couple good signings. I think the Kyle Turris is going to be good for them.
I think that's what I was going to say. The Kyle Turris signing, I think, was their best signing this offseason. Mm-hmm. I didn't hate the Tyson Barrie signing because I think that this is kind of like a show me. And I think that he can turn it around, but I don't think that signing with the Oilers is going to do him any favors for a show me deal.
Probably not.
I think it's fair to say, and that's just, like I said, not even being a biased Flames fan, I'm throwing the bias out the window. But these signings, man, just to circle back to Calgary, I can't look at this offseason and say that traded one bad thing. I don't think there's one. I would say that they were one of the most active teams in terms of trade and free agency, and they went out and they got what they wanted. They didn't screw around. He went out and he was aggressive and he got what he wanted.
Well,
it puts a lot of faith. It makes me put a lot of faith in him now, especially given let's look back a couple years, 2-3 years, and he was on thin ice and people weren't sure if he was going to lose his job. They give him this extension. It's kind of okay, you got to show us that this is you mean business, right? And he didn't do any. He went out this offseason and he said, you know what? Screw all the haters.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn this team around. And he did absolutely everything right.
We have a lot of new roster players this year. A lot.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's a huge change. Me and you talked about it a lot last year with Johnny Gaudreau, and our displeasure and our disappointment would probably be a better term.
Right.
Of what he's done for the team when we hit postseason. Mm-hmm. Now, both of us aren't going to argue that he's put up regular season numbers. But we also aren't shy to, question his intensity level and his want, I guess, his want to win a cup.
Right.
And I've always defended my get rid of Gaudreau argument by saying, that's fine. I want to make the playoffs. I mean, yeah, but I want to win a Stanley Cup in Calgary. I'm not happy until we do it again. I I was in high school when we won a Stanley Cup. I want to win a Stanley Cup again.
I wasn't even alive when they won a Stanley Cup. I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to date you there. I didn't really want to do that to you, but I've never even seen it.
I know. But isn't that sad though? Like I just, are you surprised that Gaudreau didn't get moved this offseason?
Yes and no. I think that honestly, I gotta be like full transparency. I don't think the stock was there.
No,
you would have not got the return that you would have been looking for, and you would have been pretty much trading him for spare parts. And I feel like Trey was smart enough to not, give him away for basically nothing and have the potential for that to blow up in your face. Because that's what would have happened if you traded Gaudreau this offseason. As much as I would have, I may have been on that train, it wouldn't have made logistic sense in terms of a return. Plus, I want to, like, we're going into this season, and maybe this is just me being happy that hockey's coming back, but I have the feeling this kid could turn it around. Maybe I'm being too optimistic. Maybe I'm just maybe I'm still on cloud nine that this whole thing's coming back.
Caught me off guard with that.
Totally, because that's I've never said anything like that or been on that camp or on that train for Johnny Gaudreau since we've started talking on the show.
I think regular season wise, I think he could put up some numbers. I do. I've given him 2 chances in the playoffs and I've seen nothing. Now, if he shows and proves me wrong come postseason this year, I will be the first to get on this show and I'll wear a Gaudreau jersey and be like, hey, the dude proved me wrong. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I'll eat crow with you, man.
Yeah, I hope he proves me wrong.
That's the bottom line. I just hope that he proves both of us wrong and all the haters for that reason. Not even haters, just like the doubters, because it's not a hate thing.
No, I don't hate
it. It's a what have you shown me since you've become a member of this team? Okay, 99 points in the regular season, but what's that?
We want to win a cup.
Right, exactly. I would much rather him finish a year with 60 points and light it up in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Me too.
I couldn't give I'm trying to keep this clean. I couldn't give a crap about how he performs in the regular season as long as you get that ticket to the playoffs and you turn it on. If you played with the same intensity as Sam Bennett does in the playoffs, I'd be a happy camper. We'd both be happy campers. This would be a completely different discussion right now.
He put up a ton of points. It's crazy.
And his intensity level was
bad.
Unbelievable.
Couple questions here to wrap. I'm gonna have you name what player is gonna surprise us in a positive way and what player surprise us in a negative way.
Remember when you did this to me last time and I said Milan Lucic?
Yeah, I did.
Was that for the playoffs?
That was before the playoffs. You told me Milan Lucic is going to be a factor. You know what? You weren't.
How was I wrong? Really?
You weren't. You weren't wrong. No. As a matter of fact, I think I messaged you game 3 of the Winnipeg series and was like, nailed it. I'm not a fan of Milan Lucic, and I think this year he's going to have a hell of a time staying in the lineup with this core. But he will be a factor in the playoffs again. And he will be a factor down the stretch, and he'll be a key part of the Flames this year.
Auddie Damas over here. All right. Let's loop back. What was the question?
Okay, who's going to surprise us in a positive way, and who's going to disappoint us?
Surprise us in a positive way. Oh, geez, really putting me on the spot here. I think I want to go with Sean Monahan. Because I think that he's, in the last couple of years, I don't want to say lackluster because he hasn't been invisible, but I think he's kind of fallen off into the shadows in terms of, bottom 6 players having a bigger spotlight and kind of proving a little bit more worth than just point production. I'd love to see I'd like to see him use his body a little bit more. He's got a big frame. That's something people don't realize. I think that's what that top line is missing, maybe just a little bit of grit from him, opening up some space. I think it takes two things, actually. Him opening up space and Gaudreau finding his scoring touch again. If those two can find that rhythm again, then this, watch out. Like I said it before, but watch out. But I think Monahan would probably be my pick for who's going to surprise us. with how good they've been. As for the second half of your question, sorry, it was who's going to surprise us?
Who's going to disappoint
Or
us?
disappoint us? Oh man, that's a good question. I don't know. I think the easy answer is like
Markstrom.
no. I think a lot of people. There's too many people on the bandwagon of, oh yeah, you've paid Markstrom for this long and he's just going to be a disappointment. Like I think I don't buy that narrative. That's a load of BS if you ask me. Mm-hmm. He's established and he's excited to play for this team. I think that he's going to play with I'm not buying that narrative. It's basically what I'm trying to say. Who's going to disappoint us? Oh man, I'm going to throw a wild card at you. Mark Giordano.
Oh man, I hope not.
I hope not, but
You're probably right on it though. I mean, you're probably right.
I don't really have a reasoning. It kind of threw me off guard. But if I were to go for a wild card and kind of just guess, like we said before, man, like Father Time is catching up. I don't necessarily. I think the game is evolving faster than he can keep up.
Yeah,
and that's not a knock on him. It's just the way the game's going.
Well, it's reality, right?
It's just the way the game's going, and I don't. Like I said, it's not that I don't believe in him and that I'm hoping that this happens by any stretch. But I just think that of all the players on this team, I think that he could be the one that possibly disappoints us the most.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Who do I think surprises us? I think Yusuf Alamaki is going to be a pleasantly huge surprise for us.
Oh, totally.
Disappointment. God, I'm going to get hate mail tonight for saying this.
Oh no.
I am. Because I know how people are been loving up on him lately. I think Dylan Dubé is going to disappoint us.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that's too far fetched. I mean, I again hope you're wrong.
I'd rather have like seriously, I like to be like saying like, oh, Derek Ryan really let us down this year.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I was thinking about that. I'm like, do I say like Sam Bennett? I don't know. Sam Bennett disappoints us every year. Derek Ryan, no, he's not like, if he's bad, it's not the end of the world.
I know. I'm with you.
No, I think. Sorry, go ahead. No, I think that both of our picks could very well pan out. I'd love to come back and say that nobody really disappointed us this year. I think that would be kind of a pleasant little twist on our segments on this show. But
like 2 years ago when we had career years out of every player and we win the Western Conference, and everybody's like, Flames will do it again. I'm like thinking, we had like 9 career years. That's hard to replicate that.
I don't think so. Yeah, totally.
So taxi squads are going to be a factor this year. Yeah,
big time.
4 to 6 players. Now, if you're on a taxi squad, you can't go play AHL games or play any other games. It's just practice. It's like a practice team. Mm-hmm. Do you think we'll have prospects in Calgary making our roster, and or will they be on taxi squads, or will we forego that so that we can develop them instead of having them on?
I would say forego it. I think the future is more impactful than having, I don't know who comes to mind for you, but say like a Jacob Pelletier or a Connor Zary, anything like that. I don't think it won't happen. I think that the development
that I could see maybe is Glenn Godden.
I could see Glenn Godden. I'd also love to see him in the lineup. Mm-hmm. I would love to see Glenn Godden in the lineup, but no, I don't think we're going to see many prospects in the taxi squads.
Do you think we have a guy prospect crack the lineup, make the big club?
Well, I think if anybody were to, it could be Glenn Godden.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't. Again, he'd have to.
I look at the depth chart and I'm like, well, who's he going to knock out?
That's what I was just going to say. Who's he beating out for a job?
I don't know. Like I looked at the depth chart a bunch of 1,000 times here in the last, 4 months or however long we've been on break, and mm-hmm. I actually considered thinking, well, do the Flames move Gaudreau and pick up some draft picks and some prospects to lose some cap because we've actually got enough players for roster movement, because I'm deathly afraid we lose his talent at the end of the season for nothing. Because right now, if Gaudreau knocked on Treliving's door and said, I want to re-sign, would you give him what he's making right now, which is considered a value contract? Would you give it to him?
What's he making?
7.5, I believe.
7.5?
Would you give it to him?
I don't think so.
I don't think I would either.
Especially with the fact that the cap's not going to be going up for the next few years.
But someone's going to give him more than that. So you always have to deal him. And if the only thing you get in return is some prospects and cap space, like, is that good enough?
I think so.
Like, I thought, what would Philadelphia give us Morgan Frost for good?
I would take that deal all day.
So would I.
I would take that deal yesterday.
You think they would?
I don't know.
They need help right now.
I think they would. He's got a good companionship with Kevin Hayes. He's got a good relationship with the Boston boys.
I thought people would be like, 1 for 1. Are you crazy? You're giving up a proven 99-point scorer for Morgan Frost. Yeah, I am, but I'm getting cap back, and that's a prospect that can.
But I also feel like because if you're not gonna re-sign him anyways, like, you're just gonna lose him for nothing.
I know.
So it's not as bad as it's not as bad as people would make it out to be.
No, I don't know.
I'd do it.
I would do it too, but I think
you'd have to know whether or not he wants to sign again, and whether or not you're going to want to give him that money first and foremost.
There's no way. I think that Gaudreau his agent knocks on Treliving's door and says, "I'll take the same amount or less." I don't think that happens.
No, I don't think so either.
And I don't think the Flames can look in the mirror and be like, "So this guy does nothing for us in the postseason, but we're going to pay him more. We're going to give him a pay raise."
I'll tell you right now, if Trey signs him for more than what he's making now, or even what he's making now, then everything he's done this offseason will be for nothing for me. He would have lost. I will lose all faith in. I just think it doesn't make financial or logistic sense.
No, because we're gonna have to pay Valimaki soon, and we're gonna end up losing somebody really good for Gaudreau. And I'm not saying that Gaudreau sucks. I'm just saying that, like, is he really our future? Does he even know he wants to be here? Yeah, he tells us that he wants to be here. Well, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna be like, yeah, sorry, Flames fans, peace out, I'm out of here?
Yeah, it's all PR stuff. And another thing to consider in a potential Gaudreau trade, if they did do, say, Morgan Frost, for example, for the sake of argument, they trade him to Philly for Morgan Frost. Is Morgan Frost not considered exempt from the expansion draft?
Yes,
exactly. So you free up another. Like, a lot of people need to think about that this year too. People are going to be
out of that, and we can re-sign Sam Bennett, which will get him cheaper than Gaudreau. And I don't know.
There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that people don't realize and don't think about, especially this year in an expansion draft.
Yeah,
you're freeing up another expansion, a protection slot for the expansion draft.
Huge.
I think that enough, and the cap relief, I think is enough to make me say yes to the trade.
Me too.
I would do it in a heartbeat, because you don't want to see another friggin' Vegas Golden Knights mishap with the expansion draft and them drafting a bunch of second liners that end up becoming a Stanley Cup contender in their first year, right?
Yeah.
You want to make it hard for them.
Oh,
I don't know.
Questions, and I'll let you get on with the World Juniors. Some good games tonight. Will we see fans in Calgary allowed in the arena this year?
No,
we
won't. The fact of the matter is, restrictions are increasing with everything going on in the world right now. Cases are rising in Alberta. They have been for a while. I think it's we're pretty lucky to be hosting games here, just for the simple fact of everything that's kind of been going on the last few weeks in Alberta, and the restriction they've put in. I think it's a pipe dream to see fans in the building. I think there's got to be a lot more stuff that opens up prior to stuff like concerts and hockey games and stuff. So I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Okay, now here's a $100 million question.
Hit me.
Where do the Flames finish in this North Canadian division?
They finished second behind the Toronto Maple Leafs.
where do we finish in the playoffs?
Well, hold on.
We got to get out of this division in the playoffs too. So, like, where do we end up?
Let me fire up the old Surface Pro where I have the
Your prediction?
I have my predictions, and I will.
I have not done predictions. I will announce my predictions next week on the show because I still haven't decided.
So what would they? It would be
1 versus 4.
1 plays 4, 2 versus 3. So by my predictions, again, you guys are getting a first-hand look. I'll post my video. So 1 would be the Leafs. I have the Canadians finishing 4th.
Okay.
So it would be Toronto, Montreal.
Oh, geez.
And in 2-3.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
We have a Battle of Alberta.
Oh, you know what? Did Sportsnet do that for you, or did you?
No, it's funny you say that. I didn't even think it. I think I put these predictions out before they even, or maybe I didn't even look into how the playoff was going to be formatted.
How would that be?
I had no idea going into this, and I know you guys are all going to call BS on that. No. But honestly,
so do we get past Edmonton in the playoffs?
Oh, totally.
You know what that means? That we could have 17 games with Edmonton this year.
I hope to God it happens, just for the sake of the bloodbath, man. But yeah, we can beat Edmonton. We can totally beat Edmonton. Can we not?
I don't know that this team can't come out of the. I think this is how crazy it is. I think we could take 1st or 6th in the division.
Yeah,
come out of the division in the playoffs, the number 1 seed. I think we could come out of this. I think we could. Now, a lot of things need to go our way. Don't get a lot.
Oh yeah, totally.
But
I don't even have the Senators losing the division, so
I don't think I will either.
Can I ask you if you were to pick right now, who would you have losing this division? If just like without doing like your predictions or anything like that, like if you were to pick,
for some stupid reason, my gut tells me the Montreal is going to finish last.
You think so? Eh? I think
I'm freaking crazy, and I love their signings. I do. I love their signings. There's something about it. I still worry about if they can score.
That's true. Yeah.
They are getting better. I look at the roster on paper, but I don't know how many times I've looked at Calgary's roster on paper and been like, "Oh my God, we are so good and we were so bad."
Right.
Like, there's a lot that needs to go Montreal's way for them to be successful this year.
I have Vancouver finishing last.
Oh, my friends they're going to die.
They're going to eat me up. I don't even know who these people are, but they are going to chew me apart.
Crazy. I think I have as many Canucks people listening to this as I do Flames fans. Is that crazy? I don't know why.
Well, I mean, we took half their team. I don't blame them.
I don't know why the Canucks fans hate me so bad. I get hate tweets all the time.
Hey, take it easy, Canucks fans. All right, so we still love you, kind of.
Oh man,
we don't hate you. We're just not fond of you.
So you have Toronto, Calgary.
Oh, you know what? Let's just do the full thing. I've got Toronto winning the division. Sorry, I'm just gonna move my mic a bit. Toronto and then Calgary finishing 2nd. 3rd place, I've got the Oilers. 4th, Montreal. 5th, Ottawa. 6th, Winnipeg. And 7th, Vancouver.
Wow. Oh, man, would I love that.
Wouldn't that be something you know what I would love even more? Is if Ottawa and Montreal swap places and Ottawa somehow makes the playoffs. I don't think that's too crazy to think.
It could happen. It could. But I question you know what the big ace in the hole there is?
What's that?
What Matt Murray shows up? Is it the old Matt Murray or is it a rejuvenated Matt Murray?
If it's a rejuvenated Matt Murray, then this Ottawa Senators team could be scary. Like watching Tim Stützle in this World Juniors, like I know, and a lot of analysts and a lot of scouts and everybody say the World Juniors are a bad representation of how players are going to be in the NHL.
And they're probably wrong.
I agree wholeheartedly. But if Stützle is any way remotely close to how good he's been playing in this World Juniors, then he could win. He could win the Calder.
Yeah, totally could.
He's in my top 3 to win the Calder.
Hey, I got a question for you, and this just came to the top of my head, and then I'll let you get on with your evening. Is Yusuf Alamaki eligible for the Rookie of the Year this year? Calder?
Would he be?
Yeah. Has he played enough games?
Good question. Why don't we find
I feel like I should know
out
this.
how many games had? I should know this too. Yeah, I feel like this is. I'm just going to pull up his elite prospects here real quick.
Yeah, we probably should know this, but I thought about it numerous times, and I thought I never checked, and then I thought, well,
So what's do you know what? I don't even know. I don't even remember what the threshold is.
I'll figure it out for the next show. I should know this, but my gut tells me
his first year he played 24 games.
Oh, he did. Okay, that he's probably ineligible.
So I don't think he is.
No,
I guess first year, his only year.
Yeah, I don't think he's eligible. I've forgotten that he had played that many.
Which stinks.
I know.
Because that would have been fun.
He's going to be a good one. He's going to be fun to watch, and you know what? It's just going to be good to have Flames hockey back. Thanks so much for joining the show again. I hope we can have you on routinely throughout the season, as it's always fun visiting and talking Flames hockey with you.
Absolutely. Hey, all you got to do is give me the invite and I'll make myself available.
All right, man.
Inside Edge Hockey News. Dropping the gloves and stirring the pot.
All right, Flames fans, time for a little bit of Flames news. We've got news and happenings from around the league. Let's start with a recent signing. Actually, it's not a signing. The Flames are bringing in goaltender Garrett Sparks to camp on a PTO. He's just one game this year with Orlando of the ECHL this year. Many of you remember him in Toronto and I believe a short stint in Vegas. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's where we saw him. Now, a lot of people are like, well, wait a second. We've got Markstrom, we've got Rittich, we got DeBing, Sparks, Parsons. We need them. I don't know if you can have enough goalies right now with going into this COVID thing here, and you get goalies that go down. I don't know. It's one of those things. Like, what do you have to lose, really, right? So he gets a shot with a PTO. World Juniors are going on right now. We talked about that a little bit in the intro. Flames prospects, got 4 of them playing. Connor Zary right now for Canada through 2 games has 0 points. Jacob Peltier through with Canada, 2 games, 1 goal. Jan Kuznetsov, defenseman for Russia, 2 games, no points. Dustin Wolf, playing for Team USA, came in relief of Spencer Knight in game 1. They did lose to Russia. He did not allow a goal at all on, I believe, 10 shots in the third period, I believe. Followed that up with a 10-save shutout of Austria the next day. He did not get the start on Tuesday night, a game against the Czech Republic that the USA ended up winning 7-0. Knight back in net with a shutout there. It will be interesting to see if we see Wolf again. I don't doubt that we don't. I think we're going to see him. What we've seen of him so far, I know USA is completely pumped with what this guy's doing. And he's a bright prospect for the Calgary Flames. Monday was the deadline for NHL players to opt out for the season. Now we heard no news, so 0 Flames players opted out of the 2020-21 season, which is good news. Now the schedule also came out. We got that on Christmas Eve. That was one of my Christmas gifts. I always love it when the schedule comes out. I pull out my daily planner. I'm kind of a planner goofball guy, and I kind of like jot out like the game plan for the season and then what games you really circle on the calendar as games you're super pumped to watch. But the season starts on the road in Winnipeg. Day 2 of the season, which will be the 14th of January in Winnipeg. The Flames will play 1 game on the road. Then they'll head home for their first home game January 16th, which is a 2-game set with the Vancouver Canucks. They'll play the 16th and 18th, I believe, and then have 5 days off, and then have Toronto in town for a 2-game home set. Lots of 2 and 4 game sets. 11 one-offs. There's a few one-offs I saw with Edmonton, Winnipeg. Most of the one-offs were against West Coast teams. Most of them were against Edmonton. 6-game road trip is the longest. A 5-game homestand is the longest homestand at home. That 5 games happens twice throughout the year. Now, back-to-backs. Everybody worries about back-to-backs, and everybody was all worried about this in the schedule this year. And Calgary didn't fare so well on that. Edmonton and Ottawa have 11. Calgary, Toronto, and Montreal have 10. Winnipeg, 9. Vancouver, 7. Vancouver is always bitching and whining all the time, and now they only get 7. You don't hear any Vancouver fans anymore, do you? Saying, hey, we caught a break. No, you never hear Vancouver fans say that. So I don't know. How do you feel about this? I don't know if this matters. I don't know if it matters. I look at the schedule. I don't know. Maybe I'm goofy because I hear on all the other talk radios, everybody's saying everything's so condensed and so jammed. And I mean, it seems fairly condensed, but the Flames have stretches like right away where there's no games. And I know they're building in COVID days, which is super, super smart of the league. I don't know. I think the schedule is going to be easier based on the less travel because you're clicking off 2-3 games, 4 sometimes, against an opponent all in one arena. We've never seen that before in the NHL. Now, I know what it does to college hockey in the States and some junior hockey up here in Canada, but we haven't seen it. We have not seen 2-game or 3-game sets, and I think we're going to love it. It's going to be like mini playoff series. I'm super pumped about that. We did get some information on taxi squads. There's a minimum. You have to have 4 players in your taxi squad, a maximum of 6. Waivers are required for players who would require waivers to be loaned to the minors. 1 goalie in the taxi squad for teams less than 3 goalies on the active. You're going to see almost every team with 4 goalies. You're going to see a lot of teams, like we talked about last week, pulling up players from the taxi squad to adjust for cap. Taxi squad players do not have to travel with the team. I think many of them will. Taxi squad members cannot practice or join activities other than those with the NHL team. AHL activities, for example, are not permitted. One of the things I think is going to be crazy and weird and hard to understand is, do you want to put a prospect on your taxi squad? Because he's not going to get game times. He's not going to get developing like you need him to develop. So is that going to create a situation where you keep more like Buddy Robinsons on your taxi squad where, you're not so worried about him in his development, more so that you need a somewhat NHL body ready on your taxi squad. If a taxi squad player is deemed unfit to play, the team can request another player to fill a spot, whether it's an injury, an illness, COVID isolation, whatnot. God, here's where it gets crazy. The cap hit. Effect on all teams' cap hit while in taxi squad is the equivalent to if the player were playing in the minors, like a buried cap hit. I don't know. Compensation-wise, if a guy's on a one-way contract, he'll get the standard NHL salary. If he's on a two-way, he's going to get his minor's salary if he's on the taxi squad. I can't wait to see the rosters. I can't wait to see the taxi squads. I can't wait to see all that. I don't know. I don't think we're going to see a lot of prospects in the taxi squad. I don't, especially if the AHL gets up and going, which there's talk that they're working towards a February 5th start. I hope that's the case because we need that going. And we'll see what happens with that. Let's go around the division. Let's talk about the North Division, which I can guarantee you everybody's going to call the Canadian Division all year. I don't even know why they just didn't name it the Canadian Division because no one's going to call it the North Division. It does look like all clearance from the Canadian provinces that teams can play in their home arenas. So that's really good news. And now let's talk about the Ottawa Senators, who've been super, super active this past week. They acquired Derek Stepan from the Arizona Coyotes in exchange for a 2021 second-round pick. What's weird is we're talking about, we usually talk about the Pacific. When I was doing my notes on this, I was writing notes on the Sharks, and then I'm like, oh, they're not in our division anymore. It's all screwed up. But Ottawa also acquired defenseman Braden Colburn and forward Cedric Paquette, and he's 2022 second-round draft pick from the Tampa Bay Lightning in exchange for goalies Anders Nilsson and forward Marian Gaborik. Yeah, you heard me right, Marian Gaborik. Burying that money in the garbage, right? Yeah, that's what Tampa Bay is doing. Signings this week that will affect the North Division. Corey Perry signs with Montreal, 1 year, $750,000. Tim Stutzel, which we're watching right now in the World Juniors, signs with Ottawa, entry-level deal, $925,000 next year. Michael Frolik, former Flame. Yeah, Michael Frolik. I sometimes miss Michael Frolik. Is that crazy? I do. Michael Frolik, Montreal, 1 year, $750,000. And man, oh man, did Montreal sign a lot of veteran presence? Kind of scary. Time for the Facebook poll. I went to my buddies at Flames Hub and Calgary Flames fan page and fired off a poll. And of course, they don't let me down ever. I love those two fan pages. If you're a Flames fan and you aren't a member of those groups on Facebook, what the hell are you doing? Like, get on there. There's some great Flames talk, and it's starting to heat up now with the season getting ready to go. My question was, with 10 back-to-back games scheduled this year, how many games will David Rittich start this season? Now, I broke it out, 0 to 7 games, 8 to 12 games, 13 to 17 games, 18 to 24 games, and 25 plus. Now, I had 233 people respond. That's a lot. Thank you for everybody that does respond, because it's so great that we have that support from you guys. 0 to 7 games, 13.7% said that. 32 people responded with that. I don't think he'll get way more than that. 8 to 12, 26.1% said that. 61 people. And believe it or not, 13 to 17 games, 61 people, exact same amount, 26.1%. Now I'm going to break that tie. I think David Rittich starts between 13 and 17 games. I think there's going to be a heavy load of responsibility on Jacob Markstrom this year, and that's where I'm landing my pick in the pool. 18 to 24 games, 33%. This was the leader. 77 people think that. That's pretty legit. I will agree with you guys. That's pretty legit. 25 plus games, 2 people said that, 0.008%. Not very many. Unless there's an injury, I can't imagine he gets 25 starts. I can't imagine that unless Markstrom's injured. Dylan Smith, who's been on the show before, he says that he thinks Rittich will get 20 starts. He thinks he'll get the mentioned 10 to 10 back-to-backs, but he also will get some extra ones along the way with the schedule being as compact as it is. Plus, he says that Rittich's one of the biggest strengths on the team, and having a backup that's was an all-star last year along with Markstrom. And the 1-2 tandem in Calgary is arguably one of the better in the league. I question that a little bit. I'm still a little sour on what I saw from Rittich last year. Was he an all-star? No. And yeah, technically, but he was there because of an injury. Yeah, I don't know. I love our 1-2 punch. Do I think it's the top 5 in the league? No. Do I think it's in the top half of the league? For sure. For absolute sure. I think Markstrom will carry the load this year, but I also think that we're going to need Rittich. We're going to need Rittich to be good. And if we can get the David Rittich we had the first half of the year last year, then we won't have to worry, Flames fans, at all when we put him in net if we have a chance to win, because he gave us that all the way until All-Star break last year. Get all your Flames Unfiltered podcasts, team news, team updates, and highlights at flamesunfiltered.com. All right, Flames fans, let's talk about HOTMIC. Now, what's HOTMIC? Well, it's something you're going to see this year. If you like listening to the show, it's time to interact with the show. We'll feature every week the HOTMIC Game of the Week. What does that mean? Well, what the HOTMIC Game of the Week is it's basically a watch party. A watch party where you sync your phone to the game and we watch the game together. We interact, we talk, we message back and forth, we cheer, we bitch, we talk trades, we talk how players are playing, who's hot, who's not. We're going to have some contests for overtime goals, first goals, all kinds of contests. We'll give away some hats, we'll give away some t-shirts, we'll give away some stuff. It's free to play. We're going to have guests. I already got one booked when we play Vancouver. It's going to be good. It's all going to start with the first game, January 16th. I believe that's the second game of the season. That's going to be our first hot mic party. I'll get you all the links. I'll let you know how to do it. I'll send out posts on how to sign up. It's free. It's fun. And it's a way for us to interact and take this to the next level. Game 2, if you want to think ahead and put it on your calendar, January 26th when Toronto comes to Calgary, that'll be Hot Mic Game of the Week number 2. Yeah. So what do we do now? It's almost Flames hockey time. We got a little ways to go. We're starting to get into the heat of the season. And a great guest on the show today, and we hope to have, next week. We've got guests next week. Got 3 of them scheduled to join the show as we head into another prediction show, a fan episode show. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Fan episode shows are one of my favorites of the year. And this is going to be a good one as we got 3 guests joining the show. Enjoy the World Juniors, man. It's going to hold us over. Camp starts Sunday. The next week, 2 weeks from tonight, we've got NHL hockey. I can't wait. Have a good week, Flames fans. Get connected. Flames Unfiltered can be found on Twitter @FlameUnfiltered. And also make sure you check out our Facebook page @FlamesUnfiltered. Check out host Brad Burud on Twitter @BradBurud. And if you like what you hear, rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. You can find Flames Unfiltered on all the major podcast players. And consider subscribing to Inside Edge Hockey News on Patreon. That'll get you exclusive content and much more. Thanks again and enjoy the hockey action.
Play on! Yeah, baby! Play on! Yeah, baby!
Thanks for tuning in to Flames Unfiltered. Check back for more action-packed Calgary Flames talk. This has been a production of Inside Edge Hockey News Radio, copyrighted and distributed by the Inside Edge Hockey Media Group.